What if the king of modern grappling, a man who seems practically invincible, is actually avoiding a fight? Gordon the King Ryan has dominated his sport for years, submitting legend after legend. So when his biggest rival, Nick Rodriguez, won $1 million tournament and put that entire prize on the line for one more match, everyone expected a quick yes. Nicky Rod once said,
"Better than $1 million is $2 million. So let's do this. I want a bet match. Mr. Gordon Ryan. My 1 million versus your 1 million. Winner take all bet match."
The challenge was made, $1 million on the table to settle the most personal feud in jiu-jitsu. But the king's response wasn't the simple "let's go" everyone anticipated. Instead, he came back with a list of demands that has made the super fight seem all but impossible, leaving the whole community asking one question: is Gordon Ryan actually afraid of Nicky Rod? The answer is way more complicated than you think, and to really get it, you have to go back to the beginning. It wasn't that long ago that Gordon Ryan and Nick Rodriguez were on the same team. They were key members of the most feared grappling squad on the planet, the Danaher Death Squad. Led by the legendary John Danaher, they were a perfect storm of technique and power, training together and knowing each other's games inside and out. Nicky Rod was the freak athlete with a D1 wrestling background. Gordon was the technical genius who saw the mat like a chessboard. But the empire crumbled. The Death Squad had a messy public and very personal breakup, splitting into two rival camps. Gordon stayed with Danaher to form New Wave Jiu-Jitsu, while Nicky Rod became a star at the newly formed B-Team Jiu-Jitsu. The brotherhood they had was fractured, and a rivalry grew from the ashes. What started as friendly gym rolls became a bitter feud, fueled by online insults and a need to prove who was the real top dog. They first met as rivals in the final of the 2022 ADCC World Championships, the Olympics of grappling. In a match the whole world was watching, Gordon caught him in a heel hook, seemingly proving he was still levels above. But that's not where the story stopped. Just a few months later, they rematched at the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, and this time, it was a war. The match went into overtime, and Gordon squeaked out a win based on ride time. But the real drama came after, when Gordon accused Nicky Rod of greasing, illegally using oil or lotion to be harder to grip. That accusation was like throwing gasoline on a fire. From Nicky Rod's perspective, the greasing claim was a weak excuse from a champion who finally felt threatened. He believed he'd shown that the king could bleed. He pushed Gordon to his absolute limit and even had him in a dangerous toehold. As he put it, people see he's human now. And that's when Nicky Rod started his campaign. He began calling Gordon out everywhere he could, offering $50,000, then $100,000 for a third match, but Gordon just brushed him off. The story coming from B-Team was simple. Gordon Ryan was ducking him. Then the callouts got more specific. Nicky Rod started talking about Gordon's well-known use of performance-enhancing drugs. In one of his most direct callouts, he said,
"This guy, Gordon Ryan, is walking out right now. I've been trying to get a match with him for quite some time, accusing me of steroids. I'm sure you guys heard the, so let's do this. One match, same rules as here, a 10-minute match, 5-minute OT, but with a catch. I'm willing to put out $50,000 to say, I will beat you in this rule set. $50K each, $100,000 on the line, may the best man win."
The steroid topic is always simmering in the background of grappling, and Nicky Rod put it front and center.
Well, I just think jiu-jitsu has a reputation for being unnatural. So it's up to guys like me to kind of separate us from the dirtiness, the filth of the steroid sport, the steroid Olympics. I've heard it called so many times. And not all of us are on gear. I'm a natural athlete. I've been wrestling since I was 12 years old. I've been lifting since I was about 16, 17, and I'm built for battle, and that's why I look this good. I know it's hard for people that are abusing steroids to understand a physique like this is actually attainable through hard work, dedication, and longevity.
His argument is simple. If your technique is so much better, why do you need a chemical advantage? As Nicky Rod said, his biggest thing is steroids. You can't gain 50 pounds of muscle and be like, it's irrelevant. No, it's super relevant. You wouldn't be half the person you were if you didn't do that. For Nicky Rod's camp, the $1 million challenge was the checkmate move. After winning the Craig Jones Invitational, he had the money and the momentum. In their eyes, Gordon's complicated response wasn't about business. It was about fear. Fear of losing to a natural athlete, fear of his legacy getting a huge dent, and fear of a rival who knows him better than anyone else. So you've got one side claiming the king is running from a clean athlete who has his number. But what does Gordon's camp have to say about all this? Before we dive into his side of the story, let me know down in the comments. Do you think Nicky Rod is making a fair point, or is he just trying to use Gordon's name to build his own brand? Let me know, and let's get into the mind of the king. Gordon Ryan sees this whole thing completely differently. For him, Nick Rodriguez isn't a serious threat. He's a clout chaser. Gordon claims the B-Team guys have built their entire brand off using his name for clicks and sound bites. When asked about the constant callouts, he's been nothing but dismissive.
Everybody wants the payday, right? So me and Nicky Rod will compete again for sure, but it's going to be in a tournament where he gets no relevancy off my name and he doesn't make any money for losing to me a third time in a row. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll compete again. So you don't call the shots, and you're not making any more money off my name. So I'll compete against him for sure. There's going to be another time, a time in the future where we will compete like ADCC, and that'll be me just going out and embarrassing him again.
So when the $1 million challenge came, Gordon didn't just say no. He said yes, but only if they played by his rules.
I've already beaten him twice. I submitted him once. So he called me out. We're gonna bet $1 million, and we're gonna do it on B-Team YouTube channel. And I was like, you're a fucking loser, and you don't make any of the rules. If you want to fight me, it's gonna be how I want to fight, because I'm the guy. If we're gonna compete, this is what it's gonna be. You let me know. If you don't let me know, I'm not talking about you anymore. And of course, I called his bluff, and he hasn't responded.
First, the match had to be no time limit, submission only. That's Gordon's playground, a rule set that lets him wear people down and cancels out any strategy to win on points. Second, both of them would have to wear full spats and long-sleeve rash guards, a clear shot back at the greasing allegations. And third, the match would only happen on a date and platform he chose, and only when he was back to full health, pointing to the serious stomach issues that have sidelined him for long stretches. But then he took it a step further. He publicly questioned if Nicky Rod even had the full $1 million after taxes and expenses. Then he proposed his own mega event, a winner-take-all night where he would face both Nicky Rod and Craig Jones back-to-back. He put it all out there in a long post that basically said, I am the king, you play by my rules, or you can shut up. For Team Gordon, this has nothing to do with fear. It's about business. He's won twice. He's the king. The challenger doesn't get to call the shots. His response wasn't a duck, it was a power play to put his rival back in his place. So, what's the real story here? Is Gordon Ryan running from a fight, or is he just a master promoter playing the game better than anyone else? The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, tangled up in ego, business, and some very real risk. Let's be real, Gordon has good reasons to be careful. Nicky Rod isn't just another opponent. His insane power and cardio, combined with elite wrestling, make him a nightmare matchup. Their second fight proved he can push Gordon to the absolute edge. A third match is a genuine 50-50 fight, and a loss to his biggest rival, a natural athlete he's constantly mocked, would be a disaster for his legacy. He has way more to lose than just $1 million. On top of that, his health problems are no joke. He's dealt with chronic stomach issues that have forced him to take long breaks from the sport. It's completely believable that he doesn't want to sign up for a mega fight unless he knows his body can handle a full, brutal training camp, but you can't ignore the mind games. Gordon's list of demands, while logical on the surface, also happens to make the fight almost impossible to organize. It's a clever way to control the story. He can say he accepted the challenge and then shift the blame to Nicky for not being able to meet his terms. It's a classic move from a guy who wants to be known as the smartest man in the room, not just the best fighter. The steroid issue just adds another layer. By being open about his use, he tries to take the power away from the accusation. But Nicky Rod's constant call for drug testing has definitely resonated with fans who want a clean sport. This puts Gordon in a tough spot. If he fights and wins, people will say it was the juice. If he loses, the story becomes that he can only win with an unfair advantage. By refusing to fight on anyone's terms but his own, Gordon keeps his kingdom standing, even if it leaves the rest of us wondering, what if? The king might not be afraid of the man, but it looks like he's terrified of losing his crown. So what do you think? Is Gordon just protecting his legacy, or is he avoiding the most dangerous fight of his career? Let me know who you think wins a third match in the comments below.